Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of these fun interview episodes of the SWW show. I'm Mike. Today I have with me a special guest to talk about some of our favorite games in the world, VR games. To get us started, could you please tell me your name and the game we're here to talk about?
For sure. My name is Sarah Kent. I am the producer at King Crow Studios. The game we'll be talking about today is Hive Slayer. It is a completely free VR first-person shooter. You shoot bugs in space. You are the Hive Slayer, the galaxy's deadliest defender. And we have different game modes and stuff, but basically, it is just a fun arcade style bug shooter where you could play for, 10 minutes. You could play for an hour if you wanted to. It really just depends on your skill, and how much you want to slay some bugs.
So, I have the first obvious initial question based on that pitch there. A completely free game. Why?
Right. So we are a VR company that actually does VR training and simulators. We worked on games a little bit before that. We have some 2D games in the works right now. Um, but for our premium games, it can be very hard to break into the VR space and get people to, pay $20, $30 on a premium VR title. So what we wanted to do to build a base and to show everyone what we can do is release a fun game for free. So this is almost like a demo of what we can do, even though it is a full experience. Um, it is basically like our calling card to show this is what King Crow Studios can do, and to look forward to more stuff from us at a later date.
Wow. So that's always interesting. So a lot of my background recently has been in like the serious set of games akin to like I think you've done some military training stuff, and I've done that a bit. So it's always interesting when you see those kind of places try to break into other spaces a bit. So I'm curious. Obviously, since it's free, I assume resources are weird on you guys' end. So how many people do you guys have working on this game?
Right. So, the number of people has changed. So currently, like on our entire team, we have 10 people, but I would say about 4 to 5 have worked on development. So we are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the way that we also kept this game um basically, developer friendly, even though it is free, is we use it to get a lot of LSU students experience with their first time making a game that will be published. So we would have student interns come in, and they would basically put in X hours towards the game. So the art, all the programming has pretty much been done, I want to say, nearly exclusively by LSU students. We do have AIE, which is it is not a college or university. It is a, I believe, like certificate school. But they do excellent work there. We do have an AIE graduate who also did the majority of the programming as well. But basically is kind of giving everyone a chance to work on it. And I was the core person managing it and managing the hours and making sure that our burn rate was manageable. Of course, our contracts with the Air Force are what pays the bills, so that helped out a lot as well. But really, it's been about growth and learning from the beginning, both for us as a company, for the students that we've brought in, the students that we've been fortunate enough to be able to hire on, is really what it's all been about this whole way through.
That's very interesting. And from being a former game dev student, I do appreciate those kind of companies who are like, here's this thing, that like it becomes very student friendly to at least learn from because getting your first release game and getting your first internship is always the hardest thing for most of those students. That's always very impressive when like there's some sort of system in place that lets that. I'm curious, kind of since you've been the producers the entire time, how hard is it working with students, kind of like you being on the more professional side and having like an entire team of like you're having to wrangle them all together?
Right. So it's actually been kind of wild. I actually started working on this game when I was an undergrad at LSU. I was one of the first interns that worked with the studio. Um, And what I would do is whenever we were working on this game last year, when I was in grad school, we started a little bit in undergrad, put it on hold. I got into grad school, and we were at a time where we could start up the game again because it was something we'd always wanted to do. Um, and what I would do is I would go to school, and I actually had class with a lot of the students that I worked with. Um, and we would meet up at the office right after school and work on it for X hours. Um, so it at that point in time wasn't really me coming in with a different professional perspective. It was very much the same. We were guided by our founder and like my mentor, Cody Louvier, um, basically teaching me project management and to work with like for interns, even right now, though I am full time, um, we don't really see them as interns. They are still 100% peers. So, that level of respect and stuff. It's mainly just about guidance. I think coming at it from a guidance perspective is what really did it. Like both the respect and equality, and then later on, as I became, more qualified in my position and, more used to running these projects. I run about 6 to 7 projects at once currently. Um, just coming at it from that level of respect.
That's a lot of for being a producer and a lot of stuff. Yeah, that seems like
Oh yeah, it's
a lot of like even for a producer, you have to produce your own like schedule just to make sure you actually following the work correctly.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I showed my Google Calendar, which I have all my meetings on for clients and games, because we do both, to one of my coworkers, and I was like, yeah, a Monday was all meetings. Um, but yeah, it's a lot to juggle, but it's a lot of fun, because I never stop. If I'm, working on one VR game, I can switch over to, we have 2 other ones that are unannounced currently. Um, I can switch over to the 2D games. I can switch over to our VR client stuff. So there's a whole lot of different things to work on for sure.
Okay, so let's jump into some. So obviously this is Hive Slayer we're talking about.
Of course,
You're
yes.
facing a bunch of aliens catching around. Give me what is kind of so what is like your favorite thing kind of when you're there in the game? Is it kind of like you go and you just play for try to max your score? Or are there like certain enemies you be like killing? Kind of like what are your favorite parts of the game so far?
So we actually got this like really cool music, and we weren't sure on how the music was gonna go because we don't have someone currently in-house doing sound for us. But we found this music, and it was free to use, and it was great. And we kind of based the game a little bit around that, and just the vibe of like we really love Doom, and Doom, you play it, you feel like the Doom Slayer. It's a whole, you're shooting stuff, and basically that rush. We tried to basically create a similar experience as much as we could in VR. Of course, without completely taking away from what Doom is. But my favorite thing for sure is whenever the boss comes up. I also really love actually watching people play it. When we demoed at PAX, there was this little boy, and he got through the whole thing. And when he got to the boss, he actually took off the headset, and he was like, "Oh no, too scary." But his dad got him to put it back on, and he killed it. And he was totally ecstatic to have beaten the boss. So for me, it's definitely the boss fight. Is pretty cool. We did a lot of different lighting effects in it. Because we were wondering too, we're like, how can we make this, better? Because while it is a demonstration of what we can do, obviously it's not a premium game, so we couldn't put, hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. But to the polished state that it is, yeah, the boss fight's 100% my favorite part about it.
Wow. Okay. So looking at your boss fight, then looks like correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically one gun you're shooting the entire time.
Right. So you have one gauntlet, like blaster gauntlet, and that gauntlet has 3 rates of fire, which you control with your thumbstick. So you can do rapid fire, which is like a machine gun. You run out of bullets pretty fast, but you get, more bullets per second. You have your shotgun, which has excellent spread. It's really good for clearing a crowd because the bugs, they will swarm you. So, the way we have them scripted is, and we had to tweak this a whole lot, but basically, they'll just keep coming and coming and coming until they reach a threshold. Um, and they can definitely overwhelm you. So the shotgun's really great for crowd control. And then we also have a sniper rifle. So if you want to embrace your inner sharpshooter and just start like popping them off, you can use a sniper rifle, and it is very good. And fairly accurate too. It's got a little laser sight. So there are the different rates of fire. It's just the same gun model because it's just part of the Hive Slayer arsenal that this is a multifunctional weapon, basically. You also have your hex shield as well. So it is a hard light shield made up of multiple hexes. It actually like disappears in parts where it gets damaged. So like if one of the enemies shoots the top of your shield, it will eventually degrade and break. And you can get shield recharge power ups to recharge your shield. So there's a lot of arcade style built into the game.
So that's the part that I'm curious about because you kind of mentioned there. So like obviously, I picture this as I'm seeing stuff about it. It's like an arcadey kind of like enemy surrounding me, go shoot them. A sniper is not the gun I would have pictured in those scenarios. Like immediately,
Right.
that's why I really like it. I'm like really because it just in my head. I go, oh, you need a machine gun, you need an RPG, you need these things that are either quick or explosive, not this like poof. Okay, aim again, poof. Like
Right.
it, to me,
Well,
it's
so you
just
don't have to
such.
look down a scope is the big thing. But yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, you don't have to look down a scope. It's really just a laser sight with a higher damage, lower rate of fire. And it is possible to just snipe them the whole way through if you don't miss. If you miss, of course, you kind of like lose time and then they come and get you. But it's effective. I mean, I saw one guy, he sniped his whole way through it and actually told us that it was too easy. But it turned out that he actually like fired guns in real life. So,
So like you'd actually like I compliment you guys that like if you that like the skills would transfer at least that means you have it somewhat realistic. But that is funny. Of like a lot of times.
right, yeah, I was like, I'm glad that the laser sight worked for you. Um, but also it would be really awesome to see him do endless. We do have the three modes. We have kind of like a standard mode. You go through 10 waves, boss at the last one, you kill him, good. We have arcade mode where in kind of like Space Invaders fashion, they come down at you in rows. And if they get too close to you, they will explode in your face and deal damage. And then we have endless mode, which you can go on basically as long as you can stay alive. Um, it doesn't end until you die.
So how long do you last in endless mode?
Oh, okay. So my coworkers make fun of me because I'm trash at most games, even the ones that I made. So not very long. I think the most waves I cleared was 15, um, which is only 5 above standard. But one of my coworkers though, he went up to like 20. Um, and another one, he got like the highest score when we were at PAX, on the standard mode, which I want to say it was close to a million. It was like 999,000, and I told him that he cheated.
I
I was
appreciate
like,
how
you made the game. It's not fair.
you're a producer on there. You're looking at the numbers. You're like, I'm sorry, you can't get that score. And he's like,
Yeah,
no, I can. You're
basically.
like, nope, you can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna need you to put in my initials. Yeah, we have the three initial arcade system on local play. So we have online and local. Online, it takes your Steam name and posts to that. But if you had friends over, right, a party or whatever, you could be like, hey, put in the headset and it's the three initials, just like the old arcade cabinets.
Wow, that is something. I'll give you that one. So, kind of as we're talking about this game some more, I'm curious. Kind of jumping back to the start of this conversation, we talked about how obviously you have a bunch of students working with you from LSU. I assume at least in some capacity you have some control kind of on who's on your team, or at least have seen resumes or portfolios. Kind of for all those people listening there, what is it kind of that you or the team kind of looks for those students, kind of like joining in on the team?
Right. So there's a couple of things too. So while we do mainly hire from LSU, we are definitely of the philosophy that experience, whether it is through a school that gives certifications like AIE, a school that gives diplomas and degrees like LSU, or even just industry experience, that it is all um, valuable. Now, granted, different people have different levels of experience. College, of course, is always going to be the faster one than industry experience, just because you learn in those courses. As far as what we look for, so um, a lot of people think that they need to know, everything or nearly everything about Unity or VR development to get in. A lot of our current employees actually had not done VR development much, if not at all, before working here. 100% for us, it is all about teachability. So if you know, your basics, you do clean coding, you understand C sharp, you're commenting your stuff correctly, and you are able to work with a team. Because for us, yeah, you can be godlike in C sharp, but if you're not, commenting your code right and you're not communicating to the team, then it's not really helping us out. So teachability and communication really are our two core things, and just like a willingness to learn and improve. I mean, so our our lead of VR development. His degree from LSU was an art degree, and he actually worked as a pharmacist in Colorado for a while before moving to Louisiana. He started his own company, ended up working with us, but he has no traditional computer science education. He is pretty much 100% self-taught, and is our lead because experience for us matters, and the fact that he is teaching himself, learning as he works, but also just the communication is just so key. So breaking in, I would say that yeah, learn as much as you can and understand as much as you can, because of course at any company, knowing a little bit more C sharp, knowing a little bit more about how C sharp works with Unity is of course going to give you an edge. But at the end of the day, your ability to learn more within that environment and your ability to communicate and work with a team, that being your direct peers who are also programmers, management, and artists, is honestly what is most valuable, at least for us.
Okay, nice. So, as I think we were talking before, just to make sure everyone understands this then. So the game is Hive Slayer. You guys come
Yes, the
out
game is
for
Hive Slayer.
completely for free on October 27th.
Yes, on a Tuesday, October 27th. The other thing is we are completely for free, but we do ask that you visit our itch page and not our Steam. So we are based in Louisiana. Recently, Lake Charles, which is about depending on where you're driving from in the traffic, 2 to 3 hours away from Baton Rouge. Our founder, his family is all from there and lived there. They were hit recently by 2 back-to-back hurricanes, Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta. We are setting up our itch page to where, of course, you can download the game for free, no problem. But also, if you would like to support our community, which has directly supported us in our way of getting all of these contracts, you can donate, and we are donating 100% of those proceeds to the community of the Community Foundation of Southwest Louisiana Hurricane Laura Relief and Recovery Fund. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it is linked on our itch page. That will be going live on the 27th. Like, if anyone's interested too, if you don't have a VR headset and you just want to donate, this is an excellent way to do so. Of course, I know people donate to other organizations, and that's awesome. This is just a way, that the link is there, and it's attached to the game, so hopefully it gets some traction. But they do really need some help down there, and that is also part of the reason why we're releasing this game right now.
Perfect. Yeah. So the itch page link will be linked down below in the podcast description, so go check it out there to make sure. And then if you want to donate, go check out that organization and donate what you can. Again, Sarah, thank you for taking time out of your, as we talked about, very busy days, managing apparently dozens upon dozens of projects, to talk about Hive Slayer. I'm going to make sure to check it out, obviously, when the game comes out. And thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SWW show. I'm Mike, and today with me a special guest, talking about a very interesting game. Would you please tell us your name, sir, and the game we're here to talk about?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Pierluigi Serra, and I'm part of the team. We are working to a game called IMPAVIDVM that will be released in a few days. Hopefully.
Perfect.
Yes.
I love how your version of release date is. It'll be out soon. It'll be out like when we're done. It'll be out.
Yeah. Should be October 13, but we are not sure yet.
We're getting there. We're getting closer.
Yes.
Not quite there, but like it'll be done sooner or later. Perfect.
Yes. One day or another. Yes.
To start us out, would you mind giving us like your pitch or how you explain the game to people?
Yes. So IMPAVIDVM is a platform, a 2D platform. Is a kind of old school game in a sense. We want to capture the feeling of the old platforms, like, for example, IMPAVIDVM is heavily inspired by the old Prince of Persia. I think you know this. Is an old game, 18, I think. Yes, maybe. And we used this game like an inspiration for our work, and then we worked to make kind of a modern version of a game, of a platform 2D. And is if I have to give a genre, is escape room. We can call it sort of escape room. You have to complete the levels and find the exit on a maze, and well, we don't want to discover too much, to be honest. So this is the main goal of the game. Is a platform 2D.
Wow, that's a very interesting, and what how you're explaining it, I don't think quite gives it justice. From you were kind enough to give me code for early build of the game, and it is, I think, very interesting and unique to control. I think is a fair way of putting it.
Yeah. So the control is actually the thing we work more because if you play a platform 2D, you usually you don't feel like you are controlling a real human. Most of the times, in our opinion, it feels more like you are controlling a car or a vehicle. I mean, if you play a game like Super Mario, for example. So Super Mario moves with velocity and acceleration. It looks more like a car instead of a real character. This is not, of course, this is not a critique. This is intended, but it's not the kind of gameplay we are looking for. Our goal is to try to create a more physically based character. So, for example, we worked a lot on the animation system, and we started from a different point of view. Instead of doing like other platform where you move the character using velocity and acceleration and so on, and then you play an animation, we did the opposite. So the motion is built in the animation itself, and when you play the animation, the character moves, not for physical law, but because the motion indeed is built in the animation. So, in our opinion, this gives a different feeling when you are controlling the character. So you feel more like you are controlling a human.
I think different way to think of that one. What made you go upon like using the animation system as movement system versus the animation reacting?
Well, which is kind of the same thing of the old Prince of Persia. The old Prince of Persia was built more or less in the same way. They use a technique was called rotoscope. But the big difference is the old Prince of Persia was very prone to input lag, because when you start the animation must finish before to give a new command. In our game, it's different. So we interpolate between animations, so you don't feel input lag. The game is very responsive, so you can play actually much better in our opinion. But still, with this feeling, you are controlling a real character.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair comparison. One of the obvious, I think, other influences we talked about when we emailed was this idea of like the games like QWOP and kind of your control scheme and how players have to think about their limbs. I think is very similar.
Yes, definitely. You cannot jump whenever you want. Like we were talking about Super Mario before. When you play Super Mario, you press the key and the character jumps immediately. Here you have to time the jump, because if you press the key, the character will jump when it can jump. So when a foot is on the ground, otherwise you'll fall. So yes, you're right. It's kind of similar to the QWOP not exactly the same because you are not controlling the leg, but you need to pay attention to how the character moves in order to do the actions.
Also, getting used to the idea that you have to only jump when you can physically jump as a human is a very thing that's challenging to get used to. I would say, kind of while playing the game. Are
Yeah.
you guys concerned about the difficulty you game at all, or do you think the difficulty is part of what makes you game?
Yeah. Actually, not really. We think, of course, it's our opinion, but there is a general trend that games are becoming easier and easier over time, and we do not believe players are stupid. They are very smart, actually. They can learn. So the difficulty is not a big concern for us. Also because you can play this game in different as you want. This game is not hard if you don't want to play fast, to be effective in the movements. So you can play slowly and carefully, and the game is not so hard. The game becomes hard if you want it to be hard. I don't know if I can explain this. So in a sense, we can say the player can choose their own difficulty level. It's their choice.
Interesting, because I feel when I was playing it that the idea of me indirectly calling my difficulty level was not intuitive or obvious to me. It felt very much like you guys very much put me on a path. You want me to follow a path of a difficulty comparatively. I'm curious, kind of, when you're going through that, kind of what made you stand out, or in what ways do you think you're kind of showing that to the player, kind of that they're making their own difficulty?
Well, I don't know. We have some tester, of course, and they are playing the game, and we notice it almost always that the game feels a bit hard at the beginning, but then when you get used to the control, it's kind of natural. So I think is not the difficulty is not a big deal, and also the first level is a full tutorial where the game stops and teach you how to jump, so you can see the game stops. Don't do anything until you press the key. So this is a big help for the player. They can learn how to play and improve their abilities.
Fair and valid way to kind of compare
that.
But
yes, bottom line, we don't want to make the game too easy because it's not enjoyable if it's too easy. We think it's our opinion, of course, but yes, we need a bit of hard games because I think we need this. This general trend of game becoming easier is not a good thing for the gaming industry, in our opinion.
That's a very, I think it's an interesting thing, and I think what we've seen over the last 10 years, we'll say, is probably your thesis, at least some point, in some capacity, correct. Because obviously when a hard game comes out, as long as it's well made, like, people flock to it, and it gets a very, I think, hardcore fan base that you don't see a lot of easier games get. Like, easier games might sell long-term physically more quantity, but I feel what happens to their fan bases is they go way easier than these harder games.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I agree.
So one of the things that you guys seem to be focusing on is this idea of speedrunners in your game, and kind of like people who want to get really good at a system.
Yes.
I'm curious, how does that kind of go with your, like, as you're talking about, like, the long-term plan of this game, as we'll get to you guys are launching into early access, and how kind of do those kind of players kind of go with this long-term idea?
Yes, our dream is to build a good community of speedrunners that enjoy to play this game. First, I have to say I love speedruns. I'm not a speedrunner. I'm too old for that. But I love to see other people playing. And speedrunning game, I think, is a lot of fun, both for the viewer and for the player. So this is the kind of game that is very good for speedruns because, like what we were talking before, the game becomes becomes harder if you want to play fast. Okay, so is a good challenger for speedrunners. For example, the entire game is built over this idea. So, for example, one of the main mechanics of the game is you jump, you grab a ledge with the hand, and then you can climb up. Okay, so we have three kind of animations for the same action. The standard animation, where you press the up button and down, you climb. But if you press the button at the right time, you can trigger the fast animation, which is the same animation but executed faster, so you can save time. And we have also a third level, which is frame perfect, so what the speedrunners love. If you press the button exactly at the exact frame, you can trigger the ultra fast animation. So it's a good challenge for speedrunners because playing the perfect level is very difficult. It's very difficult indeed. And we think is what speedrunners want. They want a good challenge, and they want to be able to improve over time. And so the game is built over this idea. And also, when you complete the full game, the game will unlock a set of features for speedrunners. So you can you have access to a lot of data, like the time when you were fast, when you were slow, and give and receive a lot of suggestions on where you can improve your performance.
It's very interesting, and I find it fascinating you guys have long-term kind of thought about this kind of as you develop this game.
Yeah, I think the speedruns is becoming popular, very popular in the last years. And like I said, it's very fun to watch. So yes, I would love to see players speedrunning this game and having fun.
No, I can imagine the joy of kind of logging into Twitch one day and you see people going through a game, like, because you can see the nice bandit of people being like completely failing at the game to like breaking everything about it, especially a game.
No doubt. Yes, of course they will break the game, no doubt. This is a fact. But I kind of open no glitch category.
Especially with your game being so physics and animation heavy. When your game breaks, it's gonna break. Like it's gonna not be like, oh, it kind of broke. You're gonna like people are gonna do flip it.
It's if you are thinking about going out of world, I think it will be very hard. I think maybe not, but we have an update tick fixed on 60 frames per second, no matter what you do. So it's very hard to break the game in this sense. Of course, they can find a lot of glitch, I'm sure. We'll find, which is the most fun part of the speedruns, in my opinion.
Yeah, the people who are like, yeah, I started the game and now I'm at the credits. And you're like, how did you get to there?
We should put a text out of word saying, you should not stay here.
Perfect. Okay, so as we're talking about, as we kind of mentioned to begin with, is your game will be coming up soonish into early access.
Yeah.
I would love to kind of right now spend the last couple minutes of us together talking about kind of how long you kind of plan to be in early access and kind of what are your early access plans that the fans can expect.
Okay, how long is a difficult question because we are only two working on this game and we want to do things right. So it's very hard to say, but if you have to give an estimation, I think the early access will last 1 year and a half probably, because the game will have 20 levels in total. So we plan to release one new level each month. So the game is ready. Okay, the gameplay, all the gameplay mechanics are in place. So if you get the game now, you have a full working game. We hope, but it's incomplete. We have 4 full levels right now, and we plan to add up to 20 levels. So 20 levels because there is a plot and the story. So 20 levels. So if you count 1 level per month, will be 16 months, more or less. And for people who get the game now in early access, they will have full access to the game, except the plot. The plot, there is a very good plot. I hope it's good. I like it, but okay. And we don't want to reveal anything about the plot. So the plot will be the last thing added to the game. So also players who buy the game now, they will have a good reason to play the entire game again when the final release will come.
Perfect. So we said the game's coming up soon. We'll put you at that. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. Obviously currency exchange is fun, but what are you guys planning to sell the game for?
The price?
Yes.
Should be, one more. In early access should be $10, and will be more expensive when we release the final version. But I don't know the price for the final release. Will be more for sure.
Okay.
But now, if you buy the game now, it will be $10.
Perfect.
Yes,
and the game comes out sometime soon. The game. Can you say it one more time, because I have trouble pronouncing it?
Sorry?
Could you correctly say the game name for everyone one more time?
Yes, the name is IMPAVIDVM, which is Latin, which means fearless.
Fearless. Okay, because I was going to be I didn't think it was an Italian word, just because obviously Italian word just didn't sound like one to me, so Latin, okay.
Yes, in fact, you should read this like IMPAVIDVM, but the name is on purpose because the Latins, the old Latins, do not have the U letter, so they use the V for both of them. So the correct spell is IMPAVIDVM with 2 V, but it sounds IMPAVIDVM.
Perfect. Well, thanks again for taking the time out of your evening to sit down and talk to me about the game. I look forward to seeing your...
Thank you very much for this invitation, for this good opportunity.
I look forward to the full release coming soon. And if everyone wants to check out more, you guys are PymarkGames.com.
Yes, we are on Steam. We can say we are on Steam.
Yeah, so you guys are on Steam. It looks like you guys have some social media, but go check out the game on Steam. Again, it is IMPAVIDVM.
Yes, you can check our website too, is IMPAVIDVM.com.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Same for you. Bye-bye.
This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you could use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a interview special for the SWW show. It's me, AJ. I have got Mike with me, but not the normal Mike. I have got Mike from Hoodust. They are the makers of Nightvision Drive Forever. I don't know, like the easiest way to describe it is an endless runner, but you're in a car.
That's not entirely inaccurate.
Yeah, it was interesting the first time I fired it up, and trying to figure out exactly what the what the thing was about it. Like, okay, this car is just, it's kind of a bear to handle, especially at speed, and that makes sense. And yeah, it's pretty fun. I definitely have to say, it was a blast when I was playing it. It is currently on Steam. It is $18, but so what really goes into? I mean, the other Mike is probably better to talk about development stuff, but this game, like, what was your inspiration for it?
I had a couple inspirations. When I first came up with the idea to make the game, I was commuting across town. It's about a half-hour drive. Well, 30 to 45 minutes, depending. And I had a really early morning shift, so it was still dark most of the year when I was driving in. So a long freeway drive with a lot of time to think, and it made me think about driving on the highways. Before, well, when I met my wife, she lived out of town, and there was a long highway drive just to get to see her, about an hour and a half away. I'd usually go there in the morning, but on the way back, it was, couldn't tear myself away. It was always, pretty late at night. Twisty mountain roads. I just thought, I just had a blast driving those roads, and, probably not the safest. You really shouldn't drive. I never exceeded the speed limit, of course. Just those mountain roads, there's just something very special to them, and late at night, there's hardly anyone on it. That combined with the drive for my commute, with headlights blinding you and some of the different challenges, I was like, you know what? I don't miss having to drive that to go see my future wife, but that road was a lot of fun. Like, there's something very special to that experience. It's dangerous. There's the cliff right there. You're pushing it probably more than you ought to, even at normal highway speeds. Those type of roads can be pretty treacherous and a little daunting, a little scary.
Yeah, they're no joke.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, that's not really something I've ever seen in a game, and I kind of set out to capture that specifically, that kind of experience. And just kind of narrow the focus of that, because I wanted to do more of it. That's something I wanted to play in a game. So I guess you could say it was selfish, and I wanted to make a game that I really wanted to play and I hadn't seen before. So that was kind of the inspiration for the main gameplay. And then I have my own life experiences to sort of inspire the story.
Yeah, this very much feels like, I guess the only other thing that I can think that takes place in kind of this desert mountain geography is American Truck Simulator, and that is a completely different thing. But yeah, driving on the mountain roads is definitely something I don't get to do a lot of in Michigan. Any chance that I get to see the twisties is fun, and it definitely, like, to me, when I started playing it, I'm like, okay, either this person is really into driving and loves it, or this is like a release mechanism of they had a terrible commute and kind of want everybody to feel that too. And,
yeah, it was both. You nailed it. I guess that telegraphed well.
Yeah. The one thing I have to ask, you have controller support, but as I am one to fancy myself in racing games, since I have a racing wheel, will that be supported, or is it supported?
Yeah, Yeah, definitely it is. There's a few folks on my Discord who prefer the wheel.
I honestly haven't tried it, so I wasn't sure if it was mapped in there or not, or if it was just treating it like a controller.
Yeah, it should come right up. Then you can kind of tweak it. I like to reduce the amount of degrees just because it's tough. It's a tough game. But yeah, I mean, there's calibration and sensitivity sliders, so you should be able to fine tune it to your liking. I think it's a blast. I really like playing with the wheel, but I'm not nearly as good at it. That said, a guy in my Discord has nearly beaten the game with the wheel, and I'm pretty impressed because generally I feel that a wheel is harder. But I haven't had a wheel all that long, so I feel that about most driving games actually.
Well, sometimes you just got to trial by fire that thing, and that's what I did with my new wheel. I just hopped on iRacing and I was like, well, I'm going to learn it one way or another. May as well go with the big dogs.
I tried like Project Cars too, and I tried one of the rally games, which those are phenomenally hard. I don't even get them. I guess you get used to them, and I never played those with a controller either, so that's probably part of the learning curve there. But
I found the for me, for whatever reason, Project Cars 2 just didn't feel right when I drive it on a wheel. It just feels a little better on controller. And same with the like dirt rally games. It's just they almost feel like they're made controller first, wheel second. So
yeah, dirt rally I could not figure out in any way, shape, or form. But 3 races in, I was missing a door, all the headlights. It was a night level, and I'm like, oh god, this really is a nightmare.
Sounds about right.
I'm not good at that. I thought it felt all right in Project Cars, but it's phenomenally hard. It's punishing, but I also kind of felt like, well, driving this car at these speeds probably should be exactly this hard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess there were a few things because at the time I had my first wheel that I ever had didn't have the force feedback in it, but the one that I have now does. So it was going from like, okay, in iRacing, it's mapped basically the exact same as a car. So feeling kind of how the car slides and rotates and turns. And then I would hop on Project Cars too, and it was almost like you were expecting it to slide and it just flipped around, or there were a few things I was like, okay, it just doesn't feel exactly right. But
yeah, I went with I've never actually had a wheel. I put it off for so long. I do like racing games. It's not my absolute favorite genre, which is kind of surprising because that's the type of game I made for my first commercial release. But I've never actually had a wheel, and I always thought, well, if I'm gonna get one, I should probably get a nice one. And I saw they had a bundle for a Fanatec, so it's a little pricey.
Oh boy, you went big boy.
I was like, well, if I'm gonna get a wheel, I'm making a driving game. I can justify it as a business expense. That's what I told my wife anyway.
You can write it off as a research and development cost.
Exactly. Yeah, my wife didn't buy it, but but I got the wheel, and the force feedback on that thing. I think I have it at half, and I almost broke my thumb one of my first drives. I started fishtailing. It's
I've
nuts. Dirt rally, just forget about it.
I've definitely had that happen where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try 100% force feedback, and for iRacing, a couple of the games I was fine with it. It was definitely more of a workout to move the car around, but then I hopped onto it was either Euro Truck or American Truck Simulator, and 100% force feedback. Like, the wheel is just constantly shaking left and right, and I'm like, okay, I can't even drive straight. Let's dial that back to about 10%. But,
I was doing all right until I spun out, and I was trying to fight the wheel, and it almost took my hand off.
Yeah, I've watched enough crashes in cars on TV to realize, okay, if you lose it, just hands off the wheel. Like, don't try. Don't try and save it. You're going to snap your thumbs that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nightvision Drive Forever. I have to say the mechanic of the car kind of, as I say, rotating. It feels right even on a controller. You're like, okay, the car would start to slide, and then it would reach a point where you kind of gotta make the decision: am I going to try and continue this slide, or get out of it, try and corral it, and bring it back? But I'll tell you what, I definitely see if you kept up that, you could turn this into like a have a drift option or a drift mode on it where you could really get the car going, which would be awesome.
That's something I might explore. There's been a couple requests for different modes. There are a lot of secret modes in the game. Mostly they're visual, but some have different challenges, like one on the moon with low gravity, or the floor is lava, where you're ostensibly on the sun. If you go off the road, you melt. Some different kind of small, fun gameplay tweaks, but I do want to keep developing for it as long as there's interest and people are enjoying it. That larger content updates like that are something that I'd like to pursue. People have also requested actually like an off-road, like a rally type of thing. In the original game, it's not the car doesn't drift as much as it kind of feels like. I think the camera, I use the camera to sort of imply the G forces on that you're experiencing. But yeah, you can definitely, you get up to speed and take a tight corner, you kind of have to swing the rear end around a bit to get going. So I felt like it was a fast car, but a bit of a heavy car, kind of what it was modeled after.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the Steam achievements that have the different secret modes, and it's quite a few.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones in there, and the levels are all randomly generated, the terrain and the road. But even in the secret modes, even though they may look completely different or even have kind of a little bit different gameplay mechanics, the road is always the same for the same level passphrase, if you will. So you can play, you can randomize it every time, but if you want to play a particular road in any of those different secret modes, you can play it, and the road will be the same.
Cool. Does the car that you're driving, does that ever change in any of the modes?
It doesn't. I kind of wanted to focus on the gameplay itself, and for the story mode especially, kind of make the point of the game figuring out the car and just keeping at it, getting better at it, getting the feel more and more. In the story campaign, it starts off really easy, right? And you're just kind of getting the basic feel of the car, and the roads get curvier and more hilly, and add traffic in and add inclement weather, and slowly the challenges build up, and you gradually get a feel for this car. And the idea is that you have to learn it intimately inside and out. The reason I went with that really as a conscious decision, not just a scope limiting decision, was because when I tackled those mountain roads that the game was inspired on, you really have to know your car. Like I would not do that in a rental or someone else's car, or if I just bought a new car. You really have to know your car to drive anywhere near those type of speeds. You should probably be going under the speed limit if it's a car you're unfamiliar with. So that was a conscious design decision. That said, yeah, I've had requests for other cars as well, so you never know. That could be a future content update.
I mean, you do have a mode that looks like it's inspired by for me, it was Cruisin' USA style, and I definitely think like that. Not a Ferrari that, or was it was it Test Drive that had that? One of those had that knockoff Ferrari, and it definitely, even if it's just a visual change, that could be an interesting take, like on some of the retro style. Even if all it is, it's the same physics for the car, but the body looks different and the instruments look different.
Yeah, it's totally a possibility. Yeah, I struggled. I kind of wanted to do. Night Driver was obviously an inspiration. The old classic from arcades and early Atari consoles and such, where it was literally just squares, black screen with white squares on the sides of the road to indicate there was a road there, and that was how they achieved kind of a 3D first person type of road. So I definitely wanted to do a mode like that. That's in there as 1976, the secret mode. Then I was like, I'd really like to do a bit of an homage through time to some of the really formative driving games through history that have gotten us to the Assetto Corsas and the Project Cars and all the amazing driving games we have today. So I tried to take some slices through history. There's like a pole position-esque one. I probably went more towards like Virtua Racing or like Test Drive, Hard Drive, and those type of arcade games for like a low poly aesthetic in one. I just tried to do a mix of different things to capture those.
Well, the game's got me hooked, and I'm definitely, after this interview, going to attempt to see if I can make it through a story level with my racing wheel.
Awesome.
And yeah, Mike, thank you very much for joining us. And you can get Nightvision on Steam. It's $18. It is, I think, well worth it. It's there's a lot of effort in this game that I can tell, and it's not one of a doesn't look like it was a small project by any stretch of the imagination. So
yeah, it's a bit of a passion project, labor of love. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So yeah, you can check out Nightvision Drive Forever.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at the SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeatBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.